Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right into this one. All right, folks, I've been thinking about what type of content to put out today, and I thought to myself, the NIL. Let's talk about that a little bit. What are these players actually worth on the open market, and how much are some of these players going to get, maybe if they transfer or they do whatever? You know, let's try to get an idea of what kind of money it takes to get a player, depending on the level of their play. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to talk about the Vols a little bit as well and what they might need in the portal. But mainly, I want to talk about this NIL, what these players are actually worth. And three of these guys will obviously be focused on, but there's going to be a bunch of other players that'll probably really interest you to find out what kind of value they have on their name, image, and likeness. And before we get started, I know some of you don't like the NIL, don't like all these changes, transfer portal and all that. But look, everything's changed, and you either can get with the program or not if you're a college team. And my suggestion is get with the program. And that's what the Vols have done. Because here's the deal. We're not in Kansas anymore.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
And here's your college football NIL rankings. It probably does not surprise you that Bryce Young is number one. That doesn't surprise me at all. And he's valued at $3.4 million, which that's strong. Caleb Williams of USC is at 2.5. So there's almost $1 million difference between Bryce Young and Caleb Williams. And this also shows you the number of followers they have, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or whatever, Instagram. Looks like Bryce Young has over 300,000. Caleb has over 200,000. Then C.J. Stroud of Ohio State, he's valued at $2.4 million. He's got over 200,000 followers, etc. Let's see, Will Anderson of Alabama is at $1.7 million. Now, Bijan Robinson, he's a running back at, I believe, Texas. Yeah, Texas, $1.7 million. That's pretty strong. Marvin Harrison Jr., his dad was that great wide receiver with the Colts, and he finished second behind Jalen Hyatt on the Blitnikoff Award, $1.5 million big ones. And Shadai Sanders, whose dad is Deion Sanders, he is valued at $1.4 million, and he was a 3-star. And I know y'all are thinking, surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Yeah, I am serious. Look, when your last name is Sanders, that helps you a whole bunch. So he's sitting at $1.4 million. Jordan Addison, let's see, wide receiver. He was at Pittsburgh. You remember him? He's one of the reasons we lost that game against Pittsburgh 2 years ago. $1.2 million. And on down, Stetson Bennett, $1.1 million bucks. And here's Hendon Hooker right there with him at $1.1 million, 166,000 followers. And we're about to get down to Jalen Hyatt. Brock Bowers, $1.1 million. Let's see. There's the wide receiver, Keyshawn Butte, almost $1 million bucks, LSU. Ooh, there's Jalen Carter. Good grief, that guy's brutal. 5-star. He was a 5-star. Man, he hurt us in that game against Georgia. Almost $900,000. Spencer Radler, almost $900,000. That surprises me. Drake May, $871. He's a North Carolina quarterback, and he just announced he's not going to go into the transfer portal. So he must have got himself a deal there in North Carolina, I would think. And here's Jalen Hyatt. He's at about $800,000. And let's see, of course, he was a former 4-star, and he just won the Blitnikoff Award. And he just signed a deal with Hyatt Hotels, I guess because of his last name and, you know, being pretty famous now. So he's worth over $800,000. So that's pretty strong. And you go down through here and you can see here's a great cornerback that played for Alabama, $795,000. There's Quinn of Texas. Their 5-star quarterback, $780,000. His has dropped some. He didn't play that great. There's Sam Hartman. He's sitting at $770,000, and there's a lot of talk. This guy was a 3-star, by the way, Sam Hartman. There's a lot of talk about him wanting to come to the Vols. I think he really likes that offense. Now, he has not entered the transfer portal. There's just a ton of rumors out there about it. Now, I don't know whether he's going to wind up coming here or do anything like that, but the reality is I'm sure the Vols are looking for a backup quarterback or somebody that might could compete with Joe Milton. Really, you've got one quarterback that has any experience at all, and then you're going to have 2 freshmen behind him that have no experience to speak of. One's coming off an injury. One's going to be a true freshman. So I'm sure they're looking for somebody in the portal to come in there and compete with Joe in the spring. And, you know, if Joe wins out, fine. Now you've got a backup quarterback or vice versa. But going into the season with one experienced quarterback I don't think that's very smart. So I'm sure they're looking. I expect them to take a quarterback.
Logical.
That's right. Spock knows. Before you attack me, I like Joe too, but I don't want to go into the season with one experienced quarterback. I just don't. And let's see here. Harold Perkins of LSU. Boy, that guy's awesome freshman. Man, he can play. About $750,000 all down the line there. Oh, there's Bo Nix, $686,000. I thought he'd be a little higher than that. Travis Hunter, he was at Jackson State. I guess he's going to Colorado. He's got 1.1 million followers. He's only at $640,000. There's KJ Jefferson of Arkansas, quarterback, over $500,000. Here's Shiloh Sanders of Jackson State. Now, wait a minute. Is that Deion's son? No, that's a safety. Does he have two sons? He might. I don't know. There's Jaden Daniels, the quarterback at LSU, almost $500,000. Oh, here's Will Levis. He's under $500,000. Now, you'd think a guy that's going to go in the top 10, supposedly in the first round of the NFL draft, to be worth more than $500,000. That's surprising. But let's talk about Jalen Hyatt. You know, if he can get a deal that's close to $1 million, you know, a lot of people are thinking he's going to go in the second half of the first round. There's a few people that think he might go first part of the second round. That sounds probably about right. They've got him ranked as like the number 6 wide receiver in the NFL draft. So he'd probably get around, you know, a $10 million deal on 4 years. You know, the way that's structured, they've got it now to where the rookies can't get those big giant contracts the way they used to. I think a lot of the veterans in the NFL got tired of that. So now you've got to sign a 4-year deal. Well, if you sign a 4-year deal for $10 million, for example, let's say he did that, that's 2.5. Well, if he can get a deal here for almost $1 million and then get an insurance policy on top of that, and there's plenty of insurance policies out there that you can get for athletes. I take that back. I think that's just Lloyd's of London that does it, but there's probably somebody else that does too. But let's say you get a $5 or $10 million contract, you could stay here and play another year, get your NIL money, and are you really out anything? And I'm going to tell you something. It's a whole lot easier to play college football than it is in the NFL. It is dog eat dog there, man. I'm telling you, it is rough. You're going to get hit and hit harder than you've ever been hit in your life. Whereas college football is not quite as bad. Now, granted, the SEC is as close to the NFL as you're going to get, but it's not the NFL. It's just not. All right, folks, I just thought I'd show you a few of those valuations. I thought they were very interesting, especially for our two guys, Hendon Hooker and also Jalen Hyatt, especially because he may come back next year. I'm not convinced he's going to leave. I thought for sure he would, and then I started thinking, if I could get like close to $1 million or something anywhere near that, and I was going to go and get 2.5 in the NFL, man, and I knew I could get an insurance policy in case I got injured, I might consider staying another year. I don't know. It's a lot easier to stay now than it used to be. Before, if there was no money, you go take the $10 million over 4 years. But, something to consider for him, that's for sure. All right, folks, I just thought I'd do that short video there. What are players worth? And kind of go down that list, talk about them a little bit. And anyway, I thought that was real interesting to see our guys are way up there, man. They're way up there. One's under $1 million, one's over $1 million. That's strong. And I'm not a bit surprised that Bryce Young is the highest. I think he's going to be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. I know I would pick him first. This guy's a ridiculous. I don't understand how they can even consider putting the Ohio State guy ahead of him or Will Levis or anything like that. Just no way. Give me a break. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols, the SEC, and all the goings-ons. And if you haven't subscribed to that subscribe button, I'd appreciate it. I've only been doing this about 5 months. I could use some subs. I sure could. Doesn't cost you anything. And we'll see you next time on Sports Dog J.